There's an old saying that all politics is local. If that's the case, there's nothing more local than roads and highways to keep people moving and businesses thriving. Hi, I'm Steve Swat for Comcast Newsmakers. We're coming to you from the Tower Theater in Roseville, and my guest this segment is Celia McAdam, who is the Executive Director of the Placer County Transportation Planning Agency. Thanks for being with us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So let me talk to you first, or ask you first of all about the challenges in Roseville. It's a pretty fast-growing community, and you have to keep up with that in terms of your transportation planning.
Well, there are a lot of challenges with transportation in Roseville. Anyone who's trying to get around knows that, and it's particularly bad on the freeways. You go on Highway 65, it's backed up all day long. The 8065 interchange backed up all day long, and those are the big ticket items, the most high profile ones, but then there's also all kinds of traffic where people are trying to avoid 8065 and the 65 highway that are amassing on the city streets, and so it's all over.
I know you've identified something like $3.5 billion in needs over the next 30 years, and
yes.
I guess the question is, where are you going to find the money to fill those needs?
Well, that is the huge challenge. Actually, the overall amount of needs that we've projected countywide for everything is about $8 billion. So that $3.5 billion is pared down. It is over 30 years, though. And we are now looking at, well, we've looked at all kinds of ways of dealing with this, but now we're down to looking at a transportation sales tax, much like pretty much most of the counties around the state have gone into over the last 30 years.
I know you call this being a self-help county.
Yes.
Solving
yes.
your own problems.
Exactly. And that is the money generated from self-help counties covers about 80% of the population in the state, and it's generated about 60% of the money that's gone into transportation over the last 30 years. And we've been losing out because Placer has not been part of that.
As you know, Placer County is one of the more conservative counties in the state of California. There's a significant anti-tax feeling here politically. Can you get this job done?
Well, we think so. You know, and it's an illustration. It's taken us 30 years to get to the point where things are so dire that we're having to look at a transportation sales tax. But we've been doing polling, and it requires a 2/3 majority vote on a countywide ballot. And our polling has us right in that neighborhood at about 63%. So we think that we can do it.
For our Roseville viewers here, what's your short-term wish list?
Oh, well, the 8065 interchange.
Okay.
I mean, absolutely. We have been we've scraped together a few dollars to do the pre-construction work on that. And if we have the money for construction, then we can get started next year. Likewise with Highway 65. Not that we can do all of it all at once, but we can get started on it and relieve those worst hot spots that makes traffic back up.
And we only have a few seconds left, but we should back up, I guess, and say the real crux of the problem is that the gas tax is not bringing in the revenues it used to, because people are driving Priuses and electric vehicles.
Well, and it also is not indexed for inflation and hasn't been raised since the early 90s. So all of that together makes it has the buying power of about 1/3 of what it was back in the 90s.
And back in the 90s was the last time the gas tax was increased.
Right.
All right. Celia McAdam, thank you very much for coming by. You've got some great challenges ahead, and you've met them, I know, in the past few years. We'll be watching with great interest how Roseville and your transportation planning agency deals with the challenges ahead. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
And thanks to our viewers for watching Comcast Newsmakers from Roseville. I'm Steve Swat. We'll see you next time.